How is everybody making ends meet in America right now? I cannot be the only person who is breaking even or who's probably even in the negative, and I make six figures. I make $115,000 a year. I just wrote down all of my bills and all of my expenses, and I'm basically coming out even if nothing, and that's no emergencies or nothing like that. If there's any emergencies or anything like that, I'm coming out in the negative at 115K. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Cell phone, $190. Capital One credit card, $300. Water bill, $85. Xfinity, $62. Southwest, $145. Gas, $57. ComEd, $175. Student loans, $225. Daycare, $1,000. Gas for the car, $75 a week. Groceries, $1,000 a month. Rent, $2,800 a month. After all those expenses I just named, that comes out to $6,339 a month. I only earn $6,600 a month after taxes. So that gives me a total of $261 remaining every month. And that's if there's no emergencies, no medical emergencies, no car breakdowns or anything like that. Not to mention, there ain't no vacations in there. There's no leisure activities in there. Just want to go out and have fun. None of that is factored into that. You factor all of that, you factor any of that other stuff in, and I am well in the negative. And this is not a huge list of expenses. Am I the only person? Talk to me. Who else is going through this right now? I know we're all going through it right now, but at six figures, this is insane in this country. I'm truly at a loss for words what America has become, what America is right now. I don't know how long we can survive like this. This is not sustainable. Let me know what you think in the comments.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. When I first saw this, when he was saying he was making six figures and talking about he was struggling, at first I was ready to be like, bro, this is embarrassing. Like, as a grown man saying that you make over six figures and you can barely make ends meet when there are people that make substantially less and they in a similar situation. But here's what I will say. I'm glad he showed the numbers because that does provide some context. I just got to say this, right? I got to say this. It's not America's fault, right? Because you can't say America is holding you back, hindering you, is the cause for your struggle. But America is also the same place that's allowing you to be able to make over six figures. Like, you can't be mad on one hand. I think the heart of this is really about money management. I think first and foremost, we got to acknowledge the fact that to even be able to acquire more money is a challenge for many people. Like, that's one of the main struggles that a lot of people have nowadays, is that they don't know how to make more money. That's one of their biggest struggles. He's been blessed to be in a position to generate over six figures a year. And there are some people that if they had six figures a year, they would be straight. They would be good. They would be thriving. And I believe that he should as well. I think that more than likely, this is going to have to do with where he's located. Because when we look at the numbers, the things that he brought up, his biggest expenses are his rent and his daycare. Like, those are the biggest expenses that he had. Both of those are coming in at almost half of his expenses for the entire month, right? So I think when you look at it, this is going to be something that he and other people that are in this similar position, they're not going to want to hear it. But the only thing that you got to do is real. You got to cut back. And I know some people going to be like, yo, well, I can't cut back. Man, let's be real. There are people that make way less than that figure out a way to be able to cut back. Oh, I forgot. The other big expense he had was groceries, right? Those are all of the expenses that he got that are over $1,000. So he paying $1,000 for groceries, $1,000 a month for daycare, and then $2,800 for rent. I don't know where he lives, but I'm going to just say it like this. One of the things that a lot of people tend to do and this is no shade, I just see it all the time, is they come on social media and they film videos complaining or voicing their frustration with their current situation. And my thought is, why are you not taking that time that it took you to film this video to go and think about solutions, right? Where would I start if I'm in this gentleman's position? God forbid that never happens to me, you, or anybody else that's watching, right? God forbid we never experience this where we're making six figures a year and we're barely scraping by. We're barely breaking even. We barely got an extra $200 to $300 left over after paying all of the monthly expenses, right? If that's the case, the first thing that you need to go do, that I would advise him or anybody else in a similar situation to do, is go find somebody that makes way less money than you, that is somehow getting by in your same area. Because this is the thing, wherever he lives, even if it's super expensive, high cost of living, if you live in somewhere like Cali, right? You live in somewhere like Washington, where the cost of living is super high, right? If you in one of those really high cost of living places, even I think Massachusetts is another one, right? If you're in one of them places where, even New York, right? If you're in one of those places, I can guarantee you there are people that are making less than six figures and somehow they have figured out a way to be in a position where they are covering their expenses and still being able to not get evicted, not get thrown out, not be in financial turmoil. You need to figure out where those people are and what are they doing. Go talk to everybody that you know is living in a house, living in an apartment, living in a condo that has a place to stay, and figure out what is the rent. What is the rent? Like, don't be afraid to have those conversations if you're serious, because I know it's not the easiest or the most convenient solution to be like, oh, I gotta move. But man, think about it. If you could find a place that's even 2,000, that put 800 back in your pocket. Even if you could just gotta do it for a little bit of time. And that's the thing. We gotta be willing to make temporary sacrifices. Can you sacrifice for a year or two as a man, as a father, to find a place where you may have to downsize a little bit, but instead of it being $2,800 for rent, it's only $2,000. Now you got an extra $800. You could do a lot more with that. Okay, maybe it's not the rent. Maybe you don't want to move away. Okay, groceries. Is there a way that you could cut back? You obviously you're a father, you got kids, right? Because of the daycare, right? Is there some way that you could cut that bill even from 1,000 to 800? If by some miracle get it closer to like 600 or 500 a month. Is there anything you could do? Is there something on that list that you've been buying every single month that you can be like, yo, for the next 3 to 6 months, we could do without that. We could go without that. I'm just saying, I feel like there's always a solution. Even with the daycare, it may be convenient to go to the place that you're going, but maybe it's time to say, like, hold on, is there somewhere else that we can look around? Even if instead of 1,000 a month, can we find somewhere that we could get it for 800, maybe 750, maybe 700? I mean, every little bit counts. And yes, it's very inconvenient, but these are the questions you have to ask yourself, even with the cell phone. Now, I'm not, it's one of the ones that's probably the easiest to fix, but it's not going to make that big of a dent, right? Because you're not paying a crazy amount for the cell phone. But hey, maybe you need to get a pay as you go. But I really feel like it's those main three high expenses that he got. You got to think of a different solution when it comes to your housing, where you live, the rent. Think about that. You got to think about, is there a way you could cut back and reduce the grocery expense, right? And you got to think about, is there any way that you can reduce that daycare expense? To me, I'm all about finding the solution. People are making sacrifices all around. And I feel like if you are making six figures, man, that should show that you have the ability in your mind to solve problems. I don't know what you do as a profession or people that's in that situation, but I think that if you have made it to a point where you can generate over $100,000 a year working your job, you should be able to put on your thinking cap and identify some places where you can shave off and get an extra 100, extra 200, Lord willing, an extra 500. Even if you could find a way to put an extra 1,000 back in your pocket, now you in there. I know people don't really want to hear it, but if it's really that bad, if it's really a position where you can't do that, that's what you got to do. And I mean, I got to talk about the obvious solution, right? Which is you bringing in the six figures, right? It's a lot of money. right? To a lot of people. And to a lot of people, it's a lot of money. So when I say it's a lot of money, I mean for a lot of people, they're not making that. So it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. However, if you are unwilling to cut back, you know the only other solution, you got to make more money. Like you have to make more money. It's only one or two ways that you could do it. Ideally, both. If you can figure out a way to make more money and cut back on the expenses that you have, now you golden. Now you golden. But if you don't want to cut back on, or you can't, I know some people be like, I can't. You always can. It's just sometimes you're just not willing because it's too uncomfortable to make some of those adjustments, right? Moving is uncomfortable. Eating, changing what you buy at the grocery store, it's uncomfortable, right? Like finding somewhere else to take your kids where you can trust them and you can vet the people. I know all of that is tough. It's hard. But if you can't or you're unwilling to do those things, right? That's when you got to say, how can I bring in more money? How can I bring even an extra 5? Even an extra 1,000, right? Like you ain't even got to do nothing crazy, right? If he could just put an extra $1,000 in his pocket every single month, he'd be solid. Wouldn't y'all agree? Is there a way that you can find a way to make an extra $1,000 with the skill that has already blessed you to be able to make over 100? Is there a way that you can find a way to make an extra $250 a week? That's what that will break down to. Can you do that? That's the way we got to start thinking, is find the solutions. I know I said a lot. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you want to share on this situation, feel free to do so. Until next time, I'm Jay. Stay blessed.